and welcome back to the Daily Cooking Show. Welcome back to the Daily Cooking Stream. I hope you're all having a beautiful day today. This is a bit of a special episode. We're going to be doing the stream at a time that we don't ever do it, which is at noon. So if you're watching this live, it is currently 12:30. It is Sunday, September 15th. And I see that we have all of my lovely sous chefs in the chat. Hello to Trash Can Cat Mom. Hello to Shark Dog. Hello to Liam. Hello to Hot Sauce Jr. Hello to My Roll. Oh my gosh, we have so many people in this early in the morning. So everybody, a couple of things. I might be a little bit lower energy today than usual. Surprise, surprise. I did not get enough sleep. And I have been working this weekend. So if I'm a little bit off my game, if I'm at like at 95% capacity, keep that in mind moving forward throughout today. But yeah, everybody, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're doing a bit more of a lunchtime stream on my end. If you're watching this and you are in the Eastern time zone, we're going to be doing a lovely little chicken sandwich today. Now, normally, I am not the biggest advocate of doing a lot of different kinds of sandwiches at home, at least specifically in my routine. And that's because I find that I'm never able to eat enough of the rolls, the buns in time, and it can be a little bit component heavy. And so in order to combat that, I think I'm gonna have a much more minimalistic sandwich with not as many components, but try to give the existing components as much love as possible. So in my home routine, I don't do a lot of chicken sandwiches, but there's a reason why I'm doing this. And the answer is because I wanted a chicken sandwich. Even if it's not something that I typically do, even if it's not something that I think is the most timely, the most convenient, it's a weekend. And on weekends, when we have a little bit more time, it's fun to be able to do something else with it. And so I want a nice little chicken sandwich, and I want to do a nice little cabbage salad. Something light, something sweet, something nice and crunchy. Not exactly like a coleslaw because it's not gonna have any mayonnaise or any creamy components in it. It's just gonna be acidic and it'll be really, really tasty and yummy. So let's go ahead and walk through some of our ingredients for today. Everybody, for my cabbage salad, these are going to be all of the ingredients that we're using. I have 2 lovely little apples. I always love doing a decent amount of apple inside of cabbage salads. Just adds in a nice amount of sweetness to help break everything up. We, of course, have a nice head of green cabbage. And everybody, as I've learned through a lot of experience, I don't actually really like red cabbage for salads. Also, it's Natalie, welcome on in. Hope you're having an excellent day. Don't really love red cabbage for salads because I find it to be really, really tough and very squeaky, whereas green cabbage is absolutely a little bit more tender. Then everybody, we have some limes for the acidity, we have some carrots for additional sweetness, and then also some jalapenos for a little bit of spice. Because I had some leftover cilantro I wanted to use up, I figured we may as well go in the direction of using lime juice and some jalapenos as well, for like a vaguely southwestern feel. Okay, so cabbage, carrot, apple, limes, jalapeno, and carrot. I can go ahead and put that down behind me. Next, everybody, I have a lovely cucumber. This cucumber is going to go into the sandwich. It's going to get nice and shingled. If you would like a full list of all of the ingredients, you can always type an exclamation mark menu. But I love doing a little bit of cucumber in a sandwich like this because I'm not looking for anything too heavy. I want to have a little bit of lightness inside of the sandwich because it's going to be a toasted roll, it's going to be buttery, the chicken thigh is going to be a little bit fatty, we're going to have the sauce, and so we want a little something to break it up. Clementine, welcome on in. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. Okay. Next, everybody, we have some brioche rolls. Now, I'm going to say something. I don't personally love brioche rolls for something like a chicken sandwich or something like a burger. I find that they can be quite heavy, they can be quite rich, they can be quite fatty. However, for whatever reason, my local supermarket only had burger buns in this variety. Normally, I'm a huge advocate of something like a potato bun. A little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to eat, I think, and the brioche bun can be a little bit too rich. But you know what? We're gonna go with the chicken sandwich. We're gonna go all the way. We're gonna do a brioche bun, but in general, I would recommend something like a potato roll for this. What's the difference between a chicken sandwich and a chicken burger? So, man on the net, excellent question. The word burger, I feel like, has lost a lot of meaning in some ways. Whereas people would put like anything inside of, like a hamburger bun, and then they would then call it a burger. To me, for anything to be a burger, be it beef or chicken, it needs to be predominantly about ground meat. Otherwise, I would not call it a burger, I would call it a sandwich instead. So, everybody, 6 brioche buns. Next, let's talk about my chicken. Everybody, I have 2 chicken legs. I'm going to show you how to properly debone them. Okay, I don't want to cook the chicken bone in. I want to put it inside of a sandwich. We're of course going to take the bone out. But we're going to do a whole chicken thigh, and we're going to do it in the oven. And I will show you how to get a boneless, skinless chicken thigh from one of the legs, my friends. So we got 2 chicken thighs right here, or 2 full chicken legs. Next, let's talk about some of the seasonings and specifically the sauce. We're going to be doing almost like a modified buffalo dressing. Okay, so the difference between a buffalo sauce and a buffalo dressing is that a buffalo sauce is melted butter and melted butter and like Frank's Red Hot, versus a buffalo dressing is something based in mayonnaise. Why leg and thigh and not the breast? So Godzilla's, that's because I find that the chicken breast, the white meat, it can get quite dry, especially in a sandwich capacity. And I love how tender and still juicy we can get the chicken thigh, okay? Is it worth getting one of those nice Japanese knives specifically made for deboning chickens and stuff? So Shark Dog, those chicken butchery knives, the triangle shaped ones, I personally have never used them. I've only used like sort of the more Western style boning knives, and those are the ones that I tend to prefer as a result. So my answer for you is, I don't know. But yeah, everybody, in order to get a sauce that's a little bit more viscous, okay, it's going to be based in both yogurt as well as a little bit of mayonnaise. If we just do yogurt and hot sauce, it'll be nice and tangy and really, really delicious, but the issue is it becomes a little too watery. So mayonnaise goes in for some viscosity, yogurt more so for flavor reasons, and then that's gonna get mixed in with a little bit of hot sauce. I don't have Frank's Red Hot, so I'm not gonna be calling it a buffalo sauce or a buffalo dressing. Okay, everybody, last but not least, we have some really, really basic seasonings for the chicken today. I'm really going for like a general Americana kind of piece of chicken here. So things like garlic powder, things like onion powder. I have paprika, I have cayenne, I have some garlic powder. We're gonna do a little bit of mustard and a little bit of honey too, just to help make the chicken thigh nice and sweet. Okay, so we're keeping it really simple, we're keeping it really basic today. Also, Askia, thank you, that's very sweet of you. I'll be on at 5 p.m. today as well on the side stream. Okay, everybody, so that's what we have to do today. For everybody that's ready to go, I'd like to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please and thank you. And so everybody, a little bit of housekeeping. At any point in time, you're of course welcome to ask me any and all cooking questions that you may have. If you'd like to support the show, exclamation mark Patreon. And so everybody, we are going to begin by preheating the broiler. The idea is this: we're gonna first build a nice crust on the chicken thigh, and then we're going to slowly cook it. We do a nice crust on the chicken thigh to develop a little bit of flavor. It's not gonna be a crunchy, fried, crispy chicken sandwich. It's gonna be baked, it's gonna be juicy, it's gonna be a little bit softer, because I don't really like dredging and breading meat at home. I find it to be quite messy, and I find it to be a bit of a headache. Okay, so here's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to go ahead and break down the chicken. We're going to salt it. We're going to sear it under the broiler so we get some really beautiful color on it. Then we're going to make a little spice mix. Cover the chicken in that, put it in some aluminum foil, and then let it slowly bake. Okay, and then we'll talk about the times and we'll talk about the temperatures. In the meantime, broiler set to high. That's going, that's heating up. Please tell me I brought a hair tie into the kitchen, and I believe I neglected to do so. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a hair tie in that case. Everybody, please forgive me for needing to run out for just a moment. Okay. Excellent. So let's go ahead and begin breaking down this chicken leg. This is going to be a little bit more of a technical step than I feel like we get to show off a lot. The most important thing that you're going to need, everybody, is a sharp, slender knife. You don't really want to do this with a chef's knife because it's going to get a little bit too clunky. You want a nice, thin, slender knife. Ideally, you would have a boning knife. You would have specifically something for this kind of a job. But in my case, I have something called a petty knife. You could also use a paring knife, and that would be probably the most comfortable, but you specifically want a thin knife. Too thick of a knife, and it's going to be difficult to angle the point, and it's also going to allow the flesh to stick a lot easier to the chicken itself. So, here's what I'm gonna go ahead and do, everybody. I'm gonna get some gloves on, and we're going to begin working on the chicken. I know there's a lot of buildup. I was doing a lot of talking, so I think we can finally get to it. Jokey Steam, welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. Okay, so cutting board all set, all ready to go for today, everybody. Okay, and so I wanna go ahead and successfully take the bone out. I've had chicken sandwiches sometimes that have like bone-in whole legs, especially like duck sandwiches. Bizarre. Never understood it. Don't get it. And no, we're not going to be spatchcocking Godzillas. We're just going to be taking the bone off of this bad boy. Okay? So, I have these two massive chicken legs. I'm going to still be using this freezer bag. So, everybody, with these chicken legs, you of course have the leg portion, and then you also have the thigh portion. Okay? For today, we have no interest in the leg whatsoever. And so, it's really, really easy. It's really simple to separate them, everybody. You could theoretically go ahead and look for a joint, but I find that the easiest and the most consistent method, you're looking for the straight fat line, my friends. Straight fat line all the way through. It's thin, it's a little bit subtle, but you can go ahead and find it, and that is the line that we have to cut across. It's super simple, it's super easy, anybody can do it, okay? And so, I highly encourage you to do this. So, everybody come take a look. Fat line, right over here. Simply take it and then push your knife all the way through it. This is an exceptionally thick chicken today. He is huge, so his cartilage is a little bit bigger than I am used to. But there you go, my friends. Away it goes. Just a nice clean shot, and then we have the chicken leg. Okay, ready? Let's go ahead and do this again. We're going to go in there, follow the fat line, and just go all the way through, my friends. And that way, come take a look, two beautiful chicken thighs, just like that, nice and simple, nice and easy. And these chicken legs we can go ahead and officially put away. You could also theoretically debone chicken legs, but they tend to be a lot more annoying. Okay, so everybody, now that we have the chicken thigh, we need to go ahead and first trim off this little bit of cartilage that we have left over. And then we also need to go ahead and take the bone out. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm just going to quickly pop out the skin. We're not going to need the skin today. The skin is not going to be able to get crispy. And so if we cook it with the skin is just going to end up getting gummy. I want to have a full seasoning that completely covers the chicken thigh. Okay? And so the skin for today will not be needed. Going ahead, quickly plucking that off. Excellent. Next, my friends, let's go ahead and begin taking out this center bone that is spanning the length of it. You want to begin with a nice sharp knife, as always. Always a sharp knife in the kitchen. I don't think there's any instances I can think of where you need a dull knife. Everybody, we're just going to basically peel, scraping the side of the bone. And again, this is why you want a nice slender knife. Something that you can easily manipulate. Something really nice and sharp. Okay? You just want to go against the bone, scrape all the way in. And you'll see and notice as it slowly but surely peels away. So shark dog, that's interesting that you can't find a whole chicken in your area. I mean, any like big supermarkets will always have one, but I find that even like smaller local supermarkets tend to stock them. So I don't know where you are located. Okay? And then, my friends, now that we've shaved around the sides, what we can do is, using the knife once again, we'll just go ahead and scrape that meat right off. Scrape it off, get it off, get it all off the bone, my friends. Get it all off, all the way down. And then, once you're confident that you've peeled the majority of it, you want to basically keep scraping it. We never really need to cut at this stage, my friends, because I want to keep as much of the meat together as possible, okay? Continuing to scrape it off, then cutting out the cartilage all in one shot. My friends, we have achieved a nice, beautiful little chicken thigh. Just like that, nice and simple. We could save these bones for stock. I'm not planning on doing a chicken stock anytime soon. So in my case, I am just gonna be discarding it. And so we just wanna go ahead and feel around and make sure that there is no remaining cartilage. Okay, it's not gonna be pleasant to eat unless you really want that crunch inside of a sandwich. You could theoretically eat it, right? A lot of different people, a lot of different cultures do. But in the case of my sandwich, I want nothing to do with it. Symbolic noise, welcome on in. Hope you're having an excellent day today. So, quite confident there is nothing left over. Let's go ahead and do the same thing to the second chicken thigh. Okay, nice sharp knife. Everybody, you just want to make sure that you have a good grip on the chicken thigh itself. If you find that it's too slippery, you could use a paper towel to hold it down in the meantime. And all I'm doing is I'm peeling it, I'm twisting it, I'm peeling it, I'm going around the sides. They didn't have any chickens the last time that you went there. I see Shark Dog. That is interesting because I feel like the butcher shop of all places would be the ones to carry whole chickens. But I don't know how many like average Finnish consumers are actually looking for, you know, a whole chicken all the time, right? A lot of people, they have very different relationships with home cooking. So, you know, some people, they'll never go about breaking down a whole chicken. They'll only rely on, you know, chicken parts if there's a good butcher in the area. Okay, so going ahead, just popping out that cartilage once again, my friends, scraping down the flesh, scraping down the flesh. You know, I think I've only had reindeer once, Shark Dog. But yeah, it is my understanding that it's quite popular in, I don't know, is that technically like Scandinavia? Okay, almost done, my friends. Just once again, going in there, peeling that meat right off, scraping it down, scraping it down. Excellent. Beautiful. And also, it'd be more like a grass-fed beef, right? I'd imagine that on a reindeer, because it's like a winter animal and it's really cold in Finland, they tend to have like fatter, like fat caps, and I would imagine it's very lean, right? So maybe not like too different from something like a deer or grass-fed beef in that case. Everybody, I'm just scraping all that flesh down. I'm scraping all of it off, scraping it off so that we don't waste anything. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and just quickly pop out that little bit of cartilage. I wasted a little bit of meat that time around, but that's okay. And so let's just go ahead and feel it around, feel it around. Okay, in this case, it had a little something stuck onto that edge. And everybody, I think Finland is not actually Scandinavia, contrary to popular belief. It's a matter of opinion. I didn't realize that this was a topic of contention. I don't know what I just stumbled upon. I'm sure all of my European viewers are, you know, getting something out of that. Okay, everybody, we have my chicken thighs. I'm gonna go ahead and put away my chicken legs. We're all done with them. I'm gonna just go ahead and throw that back into my bag and throw it into the fridge. Give my hands a little wash, and then we'll continue to prepare the chicken for today, my friends. I like rabbit. It's pretty yummy in a stew. Yeah, rabbit can be quite nice. I mean, you know, with a lot of these different cuts of meat, you know, there'll be only things that I really get when I go out, because getting them at home, it's not the cheapest. Restaurants are able to serve things like duck and rabbit sometimes cheaper than you would in a home setting, just because they have relationships with the actual suppliers of them sometimes. Whereas direct to consumer, you know, not so much, and there's like a couple of middlemen in between. Okay. So, everybody, what is the goal of this chicken at this stage? We're going to only season it with some salt, but then we'll put on all of the spices and we'll put on all of the sauces and everything in a little bit. The reason why we don't want to put the spices on in the beginning is because my only goal is to get the crust somewhat developed. The spices are the things most probable to burn, especially because I'm going to be doing this with a little bit of honey. I'll be doing this with a couple of things like garlic powder. Those kinds of spices, those kinds of seasonings, those kinds of sauces, high in sugar, you don't really want that to scorch or anything. So we're going to get a little bit of oil onto here. We're going to get a sheet tray. We're going to heavily salt it. Okay, and the reason why I like first salting before I do my like spice crust is because by first salting it, I can gauge how much I directly put onto the chicken thigh. Okay, P.F. Chang's used to have duck and dumplings appetizer with plum sauce. Duck and dumplings. I don't know if there's any duck and dumpling dishes that I can think of. I don't know what that would be based off of. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a sheet tray ready, my friends. Let's head on over to the stove. Okay, I'll get a nice sheet of aluminum sheet tray that is. And let's also go ahead and cover this bad boy up with a little bit of aluminum foil. Okay, so everybody, once again, we're beginning with some foil. Oh, hello. Am I all out of foil again? Did I really go through a roll of foil that quickly? Oh no. That is kind of annoying, actually. I was counting on having a little bit more because I wanted to wrap the chicken afterwards. Well, we'll figure it out somehow. We'll figure it out, my friends. Okay, excellent. Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. That's a little bit tragic. We might be able to repurpose the foil, but it'll be okay. Sorry if this is a dumb question, but how do you clean a wooden cutting board if you use chicken/poultry? Ansem, it's a really good question. It is not about how you clean it as much as how long it takes you to clean it. The most important thing is that you don't really let it soak in or anything. You want to go ahead and wash it off immediately. Okay? You don't want to let it soak in because wood is porous, but things don't seep into it immediately. So I do hot soap and water, but I make sure that I never let it soak. Okay? Yeah, it'll be oiled up, and that's going to help give it a nice even crush, Shark Dog. Don't worry. I'm already right there with you. I'm already following completely. Okay? So, gloves on. We're going to make sure that we get rid of as much possible surface moisture, just so that it doesn't splash, just so that it doesn't spray as much in the oven. Leave the stream running and run to the story taza. If I had somebody to fill in, if I could just get my roommate to like come in and entertain us, I mean, the easiest option would be ask my roommate. But if my roommate could just come in and, you know, do that for a little bit, that'd be pretty hilarious. Okay, anyways. Just quickly patting down my chicken thigh, my friends. Get more moisture off than you think you need to. Just keep it going, get it done. And let's go ahead and do the second one. Okay, perfect. Then everybody, we're going to heavily season this with some salt. Okay, this is a really thick chicken thigh, my friends, and we want to have a nice, properly seasoned sandwich. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some kosher salt, and we're gonna go ahead and give the sides a good generous season, my friends. Why do I use gloves? That's a good question. Symbolic noise. It's so that I don't have to keep going back and forth washing my hands, is one reason. And the second reason is because, you know, when I'm handling wet food, because I have eczema, I want to be careful so as not to overly agitate my hands. And so the gloves, specifically for me, they keep my hands nice and protected. Commercial kitchens use plastic mostly for ease, convenience, and higher sanitation standards. With proper care and attention, it's fine to use wood for raw meat. Absolutely Godzilla. Again, most importantly, you never want to soak your wooden cutting boards. You just want to wash it off pretty quickly after you get done using it. Okay? Butcher shops have been using wooden cutting boards and butcher blocks for years. Okay. Now, granted, I think that's a pretty bad justification. The rhetoric that I just used there is because people have already been doing this, then it's guaranteed that they know what they're doing. That's not always necessarily true. It's a good rule of thumb sometimes, right? There are reasons why things have existed for as long as they did, so it's not to write off existing institutions and systems, but it's not entirely foolproof, is what I'm getting at. So, what I just said about butcher shops, I talked out of my ass. I know that they use wooden blocks, but I don't actually fully know if that is causing some harm. Pretty sure it isn't, and that's enough confidence for me. So everybody, we're gonna get a little bit of oil on there, a little bit of olive oil. Actually, no, I'm gonna take it back. We're gonna do a little tiny bit of canola oil. I wanna do a little bit of tiny bit of canola oil. Specifically because it has a higher smoke point, it's not gonna burn as much inside of the oven, and I don't really want the taste of olive oil inside of my final chicken sandwich. So I'm just gonna oil these up on the sheet tray directly, just to make my life a little bit easier, my friends. And again, you only need as much oil as you need to cover the chicken thighs themselves. So I'm gonna get a little bit of oil on my hand. A little bit, my friends. Again, just enough that it coats it. It's gonna stop the meat from sticking to the sheet tray immediately. And then it's also going to help it to get a nice, proper, beautiful brown crust inside of the oven, my friends. Okay, so a little bit of oil goes down. And last but not least, once again, a little bit of oil. So Chicken thighs, they don't need that much oil. They're super, super fatty. Dark meat has a lot more fat than white meat does, but we just need a little bit to get started and to help facilitate making the crust. And also, a little bit of oil on top does stop the meat from drying out as much. Completely dry cooking methods, like grilling or broiling without the presence of fat, it can give you an unpleasant, stringy, dry outside sometimes. Okay, so always cooking in the presence of some kind of fat or very, very gently low temperature cooking. Super, super important, my friends. It helps to keep the outside of it not too dry. Okay, so when people say adding oil makes it juicier, it's not entirely true. All that it really does is it stops the topmost layer from developing a dry, tacky crust. To get a nice crispy crust, you have to get a little bit gummy, it has to be a little bit wet, and the oil helps to facilitate that. Okay, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and get the chicken inside of the broiler, and the only goal at this stage, once again, is to just get a nice good crust on it. We're gonna slowly cook it in a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes after, and that's so that we get it nice and tender, cooked to about 180, just so that it really, really melts inside of the sandwich, okay? So, getting my chicken in there, gonna get it nice and browned, and everybody, once again, in the interest of making the most out of all of our downtime, you know what I'm gonna do in the meantime? I'm gonna go ahead and probably just wash off my cutting board. Now that I think about it, I don't wanna overcook my chicken at this stage. I think I'm going to move my broiler tray an extra level higher. I only wanna develop a crust. I don't want to cook the chicken at this stage. I wanna just cook it really, really slowly. So, in the interest of doing so, I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly change the position of my broiling grate. I wish that this was not the kind of a broiler where I had to go inside of the oven itself to handle, but alas, there's only so much you can do sometimes. Okay, there we go. All set up now. Get it inside, get it going, my friends, get it cooking, okay, and get it nice and roasted. So, all I'm gonna do in the meantime is I'm gonna go ahead and quickly wash off my equipment. We're gonna stay moving, we're gonna stay cleaning. If anybody has any questions, now, of course, would be an excellent time to go ahead and ask me while the chicken is cooking. Okay. Oh my god, that's pretty funny. I make chicken eggplant parmesan and sometimes I use olive oil and it burns fast. Should I actually use mazola type oil instead, or does it not matter at all? Symbolic noise, my answer for you is the following. You know, you could do just lower temperature cooking. Okay, you could do a little bit of lower temperature cooking for the extra virgin olive oil. You could also consider using a refined olive oil. Refined olive oils can withstand higher temperature cooking, but I find that they smell and taste a little bit better even with some, you know, extended cook time. It doesn't have as much flavor as extra virgin, of course, because it's been purified, it's been refined. So I would do something like that, would be my suggestion. Okay, everybody, if you have any questions, now would be an excellent time to ask as I go ahead and quickly clean off my equipment. Just give my knife a little wash, sanitize it, get some soap on there, my friends. Get it out of sight and get it out of mind. And then we'll work on the sauce, we'll work on the seasoning for the chicken, and then we'll go ahead and do the cabbage salad as well. And if everybody's still watching, I'd love to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please, and thank you. Okay, got my knife done, all ready, all set to go. And I'm gonna go ahead and quickly do the same for my cutting board. But yeah, everybody, just hot soap and water. And just make sure that the chicken or anything that you do on it never really soaks in. So I always wash it whenever I'm done with cooking, almost immediately. If I have to leave other dishes, I would rather leave, just about anything else that is not a wooden cutting board. So that's some of the difficulty with it. If you don't want to wash it off individually, hand wash it each time, I would recommend what is called an Epicurean cutting board. They're these little composite wood cutting boards that actually do a pretty good job of not warping in the dishwasher. So if you want a dishwasher cutting board and you don't want to use a plastic one, I would heavily recommend an Epicurean one. They're lighter, they're thinner, and they're pretty resistant to warping. Not to sound like a product placement, but I think it's a good piece of advice. That's what I used to use before I moved in here and have basically stolen my roommate's butcher block that I now use for everything. So thank you to Vixen for that. Okay. washing it off, getting all the chicken off, getting all the soap off. Beautiful. I pulled up a list of all refined oils. Thank you, chef. Yeah, symbolic of course. I'm happy to help out. Generally speaking, the only refined oil that I would move away from would be corn oil. Corn oil has such an unpleasant flavor. It has such an unpleasant aroma to it. People use it because it is cheaper. If that's the only kind of oil that you can use, you know, that's okay. You just have to typically go in with a lot more intense and a lot more stronger flavors to sometimes mask it. Well, it might be okay in stews as well, where you don't, I think, taste it as much and doesn't have as much of a profound flavor. Okay? So, gonna go ahead and quickly wipe off my cutting board. What about sunflower oil? Love sunflower seed oil. Although, the way that I grew up with it, symbolic noise, was that we didn't really cook with sunflower seed oil. We mostly cooked with butter in my household. But sunflower seed oil, especially in Russian and like Central Asian cuisines, used so much in salads. It has a very subtle flavor. I don't know why it was used in salads. I think it was just grown a lot. People grew a lot of sunflowers, and they grew a lot of sunflower seeds. And I think that might be the only reason behind it. Okay, my chicken thigh doesn't even have a little bit of color on it at the moment. It's still looking just quite white. Honestly, I'm looking at it in retrospect and I'm kind of going, yeah, I wish I put a little bit more fat on it, but that's okay. Live and let live sometimes, you know? Okay, everybody, we're going to begin with making the sauce for the chicken, or rather, this like little seasoning paste that the chicken is going to bake with. Okay, I want a little bit of heat, I want a little bit of flavor, but I'm gonna be keeping the flavor profile of this, not to sound too pretentious, but I'm keeping the flavor profile of this somewhere in this like vague sense of Americana in my head, right? A lot of dried spices, I'm not looking for anything too herbaceous. So in my case today, my friends, I'm gonna be doing paprika, I'm gonna be doing a little bit of honey, I'm gonna be doing some garlic powder, I'm gonna be doing some cayenne, some black pepper and salt. I gotta ask, what oven do you have there? Shark Dog, not an oven that you would probably wanna buy if you got a kitchen renovation coming on up. I would not get this one. I love gas stoves, but I would not get this one. This is just a generic, you know, apartment stove. I'm quite sure that you don't want this one. There's many better ovens out there. And then, you know, you have an induction thing. Oh, if you're renovating to gas, that would be amazing for you. Hey Doug, have you ever heard about XIS? I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm Kapor. Also, welcome on in, it's lovely to have you. It's a pressed hamburger thing that we have in Brazil. No, I'd love to hear about it. What refined oils would you suggest? I will definitely take a recommendation. So symbolic noise, depends on budget. If you have a little bit more budget, I would do avocado oil. Otherwise, canola oil for general use. And then I love the flavor of peanut oil. I use peanut oil in a lot of, you can post the link in here or just post me like a little section about it because I'd love to read about it. You could use peanut oil as well. You pretty, got a blast. Thanks, AI girlfriend. Welcome on in. Hope you're having an excellent day today. So, and I'm not really gonna be measuring my spices for something like this, everybody. This is gonna be on a piece of chicken. It's going to cook on a piece of chicken. It's gonna be pretty much delicious no matter what, okay? So, the only thing is I want a pretty generous amount of cayenne. Not too much paprika, mostly for color reasons, but I don't think I want like a profound flavor of like those sweet dried chilies. So, a little bit of cayenne, because I'm looking for a spicy chicken sandwich, okay? Good amount of that goes in. Next, we're going to do probably a measured amount of garlic powder. I don't really want to do more than like half a teaspoon or so. Garlic powder can easily be too intense, my friends, especially in the presence of a little bit of moisture. Okay, so I'm only going to do half a teaspoon of garlic powder. That is one of the ones that you want to be a little bit more reserved on. Okay, everybody, I'm checking all my chicken pieces. You know, I don't actually think it's going to get that good of a crust anymore. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it out so I don't overcook it at this stage. I wanna slowly cook the chicken thigh, my friends, so that we keep it really nice and juicy. So we didn't develop as much of a crust that we would have liked to. That's totally okay. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out of the oven, or out of the broiler, excuse me, nonetheless. And the reason why we don't want to overcook the chicken at this stage, my friends, is because of a little concept called evaporative cooling. If you've ever done any buttery stuff, you would know about evaporative cooling, and specifically a technique in which you would foil wrap or wrap in butcher's paper things like brisket and ribs to stop it from drying out as it cooks. okay? That's because at around 150, 160 degrees or so, the meat starts releasing enough moisture that the water evaporates. Okay, it evaporates and then it constantly cools the meat off. So if the goal is to cook it to 180 degrees inside, the evaporating moisture keeps cooling it off, and you end up with really dry pieces of chicken. So I want to go ahead and do a nice low temperature. I'm talking in the realm of like 325, 350, something like that. Okay, we want to go nice and slow. Garlic powder, cayenne. Let's go ahead and do some paprika as well. Again, not particularly measuring or anything, just going completely based on feel for this. Again, the only things that you would really need to worry about is having too much salt in something. We're going to have a little bit more salt in this crust though, just because we want to make sure that the chicken is seasoned all the way around. So a little bit of salt goes in. Okay. Next, what do we have? We're going to do a little bit of mustard. This is a nice whole grain mustard. I actually think whole grain mustard would not be optimal for this. I would do like a Dijon or like a yellow mustard, something a little bit more mild, to help give this paste a little bit of viscosity. Okay, I don't want the mustard to completely overtake it. So 1 little spoon of that goes in. Then we're going to, excuse me, where did I put my lid? Thank you. Let's get a bunch of black pepper inside as well while we're at it. Nicely and finely ground, my friends. And then last addition is going to be some honey for a little bit of sweetness to almost make like a pseudo glaze kind of thing. Okay, black pepper goes in. Everybody, do you think we should put some lime zest in here? We could do some lime zest. I already have some limes out. Chat, what do we think? I'm going to take a little bit of, interactive viewer input at this point. Is there any way to get good recipes for these? So CPT Jemmy, welcome on in. The reason why no is because this show is kind of meant to teach you a lot of home cooking techniques, a lot of theory, a lot of understanding, but it's not as much recipe-based teaching. Okay, so it's no like exact amounts or anything. This is purely me trying to go about it and show you the different things that you can do. So maybe not a recipe anywhere, but it would be nice for me to do some written guides on a couple of things sometime in the future. Really nicely format it, make it nice and accessible, but it would be like a proper reading with pictures, something like that. Okay, so mustard inside. Next thing that we're going to need, my friends, is some lovely honey. Where's my honey at? Excuse me, thank you. Which pan is that, by the way? Which pan are you talking about specifically, Shark Dog? Okay, we're going to quickly, without trying to spill too much over the edge. The one behind me, Shark Dog, it's also another pan that I don't know if I would recommend. If you want a Teflon nonstick pan, I would always recommend Tefal, just because they're really, really cheap. The only issue with Tefal is that they have sometimes very uneven heat conductivity. That one behind me, I believe is a Cuisinart or something, but it's not great. You don't like Tefals? Why do you not like Tefal, Shark Dog? I'd love to hear about it. Tefal, much more popular in the EU as well. Okay, I think that this should be a sufficient amount of honey. We're going to go ahead. Actually, we could probably do a little bit more, if anything. I'm looking at it. I want this to all come together as a nice little paste that we can rub onto the chicken. A little bit more honey, a little bit more sweetness. Normally I don't go too heavy with the honey, but in my case today, we do need a good amount of it because the chicken's just gonna be a little bit spicy. We're gonna have a nice little tangy sauce to go with it. And so this felt like a very natural addition. So, there you go. What do people say about the lime zest? Zest is best? Okay, I don't think I can argue with that logic. I'm gonna go ahead and get my citrus zester because I did leave it behind. I did neglect it. So please forgive me once again for having to run back into my room. Everybody, let's go ahead and get some lime zest in here. We already have some limes out. We may as well make the most out of them. Okay? So, lime, microplane. All that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go around the full surface of the microplane and the lime. So this is pretty important and I'm going to explain to you why. There is a huge problem if you were to just go ahead and take it like this. If you go directly forward and back, my friends, you're only going to get this center part and you're not going to be able to properly go around it. The next thing I see some people do is they take the lime itself and they only twist the lime to be able to get it all the way around. That also is not something that you want to do, because everybody, take a look. We're only using this part of the microplane. We're going to dull this part without that part getting dull. You want to use your knives, any sharp equipment, always from base to tip or tip to base. You want to use as much of the surface at once as possible so that it is not unevenly sharp. So take it and you want to twist it at the same time as going all the way around. Okay? Another way that you could theoretically do this, you could just take the lime itself and just go like this if you don't feel comfortable pivoting it at the same time. But in my case, my friends, I'm just going to take it and pivot it. I'm taking it and I'm pivoting it at the same time as I'm pulling my microplane all the way through it. And so in the lime zest, not in the white part, not in the pith, not even in the juice, my friends, but inside of the zest itself is where most of the aromatic quality to the lime is, and thus the most amount of flavor. Okay? Very many dishes call for honey that I want to make, but I'm highly allergic to honey. Is there anything else that I can substitute with that gives the same aspect flavor as honey? So symbolic noise, the answer is yes. You know, the easiest example that I could probably name would be something like corn syrup, but not corn syrup, you could do something like an agave syrup. Agave syrups are pretty okay at substituting for honey. You may want to consider adding more starch to emulate the viscosity if the viscosity is important, but I think you would do agave syrup the best. Okay, using my bench scraper, let's get all of my lime zest inside. And now, my friends, my seasoning paste is officially completed. Okay, there she is. All that we have in here, we have a little bit of salt, we have mustard, we have some honey, we have paprika, we have cayenne, we have garlic powder, and we also have some lime zest just for fun as well. This is gonna help get the chicken nice and sweet. It's gonna make it nice and tasty. As you guys may see, my chicken thighs, they did not pick up as much color as I would have liked them to. I think it's because they were a little bit too thin. They cooked a little bit too quickly. And so if I pan-seared it, it might have been a little bit different, but that's okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just rub down the chicken with my seasoning mix. And then we'll put it into the oven, 325 degrees, really let it slowly cook, and we'll wrap it up in this amount of aluminum foil. So hopefully that's all able to work out, my friends. Hopefully. And if not, then we'll figure it out, I guess, as well. Okay? Just directly on. Just directly on. Glaze it up, my friends. Take it and spread it all the way around. In fact, I'll just go ahead and get it just back into the bowl. I only got a crust on one side. Everybody, I am not too pressed about it at all. I think it's gonna be okay. I think it's gonna be delicious. I think it's gonna be melty and juicy and everything that we could have hoped for. Okay? So, get it all the way around. Make sure that it's nicely and properly coated, my friends. That's one. And let's do the second one. Especially when you're cooking with honey, everybody, you generally don't want to go too high of a temperature so that you don't scorch it. Okay? Burnt honey, maybe like a little bit of caramelized honey is delicious, but a burnt honey you do not want to be involved with. Okay? So, there you go. Let's get that last little bit of remaining sauce, that last little bit of remaining seasoning paste, everybody. Okay. Wrap it up, and then it'll be all set. So, hopefully, this amount of aluminum foil should be enough to wrap it. Okay, everybody, why are we wrapping it in foil? So, it keeps it juicy, but it doesn't keep it juicy for the reasons that you might think. A lot of people think, oh, because it's steaming inside, it keeps it juicy. And the answer is yes, but not really. It's not the fact that the steam keeps it juicy, it is the fact that we're keeping the heat in the chicken. This is a concept in barbecue that is known as the Texas crutch. I need to hear you, chef. I need to make sure that you all understand this. If you were to cook this really, really slowly, the goal is to get this to 180 degrees internal temperature. At 180 degrees internal temperature, that's where the collagen is mostly fully broken down into gelatin. okay? And it becomes really soft and tender. That is what chicken thighs are amazing for. If you do it without the aluminum foil, if you don't wrap it in butcher paper or something, okay, what's going to end up happening is as the chicken approaches 150, 160 degrees Fahrenheit, water beads up on the top, evaporates. And if you remember from biology classes, if you were taught it, evaporating water cools down things around it. That is the principle behind how refrigerators work, for instance. Okay, we don't want to do that because we'll lose so much moisture out of the chicken. So glaze it up. And then we're going to go ahead and cover it with my foil. Okay, how slowly do I cook it? 325 degrees for about 30 minutes or so. Again, this is a small bone out chicken thigh. If you did a bone in chicken thigh for something else, I would do even like slower, right? 275 for an extended period of time. We don't need to go that slow because again, just a really quick, thin piece of chicken thigh that we have. Okay, everybody, guess what? I think that I somehow managed to successfully wrap it up. I did it. I did the task that I never thought was going to be possible. So, with one little sheet of aluminum foil, it came in clutch. I'm going to go ahead and get it back into the oven. You know what? We could even do 300 degrees or so. We could do 300. Right? It's such a thin, thin little piece of chicken thigh, my friends. And the nice part is cooking it this way. You can't really overcook that easily. Would have thought chemistry? Oh, Shai Chica, that's a good point. I learned it in my earth science class. So, Kapor, how do you pronounce that Brazilian pressed burger dish? I don't understand how to pronounce it if you help me out. So, into the oven she goes. 30, 40 minutes, something like that. Again, you would probably want to go as far as to double the amount of time that you cook it. If you're doing it with a bone, it really slows down the cooking process. Chiz. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly still. Okay. Everybody, chicken's in the oven, chicken is going. We're gonna need to go ahead and do the preparations for the salad. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and put away a bunch of stuff. If I didn't already mention it, today is going to be a really short stream. I have commentary work after, so if you wanna listen to me talk about video games, at 5 p.m. EDT, I'm gonna be on the official Pro Brawlhalla channel. If you would like to, of course, no pressure either way. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of a bunch of my spices, my friends. I'm gonna put them away, get them out of sight, get them out of mind. Okay, get my honey out of here too. At home, it is so important that you just keep up the momentum. You don't wanna go ahead and sit down or anything. Just keep it up and you will be rewarded in time. Okay, get the spices away, get that. You know, the mustard, we might add a little bit to the sauce. We might not. I still haven't fully decided. Okay, excellent. Away these spices go. Let's get rid of my mustard and let's get rid of my black pepper. Actually, I've already said that I'm going to keep them for a little bit longer, right? 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, Count JP. But the magical thing is this. Honestly, it's a chicken thigh. You can't really mess up a chicken thigh. They're incredibly forgiving, and that is part of the reason I'm using them today and not a chicken breast. Chicken breast, white meat, lean meat, it dries out super, super quickly, and so you never really want to do like low and slow dry baking methods or anything, because it just forms a super, super unpleasantly stringy outside on the chicken breast itself. So, for frying, honestly, guys, if you want to do a fried chicken sandwich, chicken breast makes for an excellent piece of meat because it's actually indirectly cooking. The chicken itself is not getting hit by the oil, but the breading around it is, and it's almost like the chicken meat inside gets nice and moist, okay? You can undercook it. Gordon Ramsay would be mad. With a chicken thigh, it's kind of difficult to undercook it if it has a bone inside of it, at least. Well, if it doesn't have a bone inside of it. Boneless, skinless chicken thighs, my friends, they're so rewarding, they're so easy to work with. And I believe this is something I've heard another chef say recently, but he was like, yeah, that is the perfect like beginner cut of meat to work with. For anybody that might be new to cooking, boneless chicken thighs, difficult to overcook, difficult to undercook, and they're always delicious and fatty, right? So I love chicken thighs, I love them to death, and I love how accessible they are in some ways. Okay, everybody, we can go ahead and begin working on the cabbage salad in the meantime. So the goal of the cabbage salad is the following. I wanted something a little bit sweeter, hence my inclusion of the carrot as well as the apple. I want something a little bit sweeter. I want something a little bit lighter. I don't want a mayonnaise-based coleslaw, for instance, because I'm already going to have a mayonnaise-based sauce inside of the sandwich itself, and I just wanted something that would pair nicely with and contrast the sandwich. We're going to get some acidity inside in the form of lime juice. Okay, we're not going to really have any fat in there. I don't think I'm even going to do it with oil. Maybe a little bit of oil. That could be nice. But really, I just want something very clean, very intense, and very refreshing. Okay, so everybody, I have cabbage here. I peeled away the dirtiest and the outermost layers of the cabbage. You don't really have to wash the inside of the cabbage. The inside of it is so dense that unless like a bug physically got in, they never make it past the first few layers anyways. There's very little sand inside of these, so I wouldn't even personally bother with washing them. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this bad boy directly in half on a nice stable surface. So whatever feels the most stable on this cabbage. Everybody, in half, all the way through. It's gonna be a bit of a challenge because the coil is so tough, and we're intentionally keeping the coil on, at least for now. I'm only gonna make a salad with half of this cabbage today. Okay? Oh my God. Everybody, look at the size of the coil. Hello? The coil is over the half. I have never seen a coil so big on a piece of cabbage before. That is crazy. Okay, given how much we're not going to be including inside of the salad today, I think that we might need to go ahead and take it off and use the whole head of cabbage. I wasn't planning on making a whole head of cabbage, but we're gonna be losing so much volume out of this. Okay, the easiest way to carve something like a coil out, my friends, is we're gonna go ahead and cut it once more, all the way through, all the way in, all the way inside. Perfect. We're going to expose the coil on the inside. That's right. Cabbage has legit bones. Shy Chica, even if a little bit dated, I guess, do you want it bone in or bone out? Is the question. Okay, so before, I used to be one of the people that was saying, oh, you always need to keep the coil on while you slice it. I find that that's useful for romaine lettuce. I find that that's useful for onions, but for cabbage, it can actually be a little bit counterintuitive. In my opinion, everybody, the best method will always be to just go ahead and cut that coil directly out. Just keep the stacks. Keep the cabbage nice and preserved in this layer, okay? Keep it nice and preserved. Don't break it up yet. That's why I'm not taking the other coils off quite yet. I'm gonna get a nice big bowl. Everybody, you want a bowl that's slightly too big, okay? And you'll see why. The cabbage takes up a lot of volume at this stage. But when we salt it and get rid of the excess water in the cabbage, it's going to lose the majority of said volume, okay? Everybody, I want the nice, tender cabbage salad. How do you get a tender salad? You slice your vegetables really, really thin. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm going in with my knife, and everybody, I'm not chopping, right? If you chop, look at what happens, ready? It cleaves it, and it doesn't give you a flat plank. The best thing that you can do, my friends, especially if you don't want it to stick to the knife, base to tip, slice it, slice it, slice it. Thin, thin, thin shreds, my friends. You could even chunk it, you could chop it. Doesn't really matter the way that you do it. It is entirely up to you, but ultimately the most important thing, I don't want like paper thin cabbage. It'll completely lose all of its texture that way. So just a little bit bigger than paper thin. Beautiful slices of cabbage, my friends. Why not grate it? So, MFE Pick 1, welcome on in. You can absolutely grate your cabbage. Now, the only reason why I'm not grating my cabbage is because I think this is, first of all, too big for my food processor, and second of all, grating cabbage by hand is so obnoxious. It is such a chore for me. That is one task that I do not love doing. I'm gonna be using my food processor for the apples and the carrots today, so that's gonna be nice, but I will absolutely not be doing that on a cabbage. Or, excuse me, I will not be using a hand grater on a cabbage. That is something I've seen, of course, my grandmother do growing up for her cabbage salads and for soups. And I remember doing it a little bit myself. And I've done it once again recently, and I hate it. I do not like it. Nice and sweet. Oh, everybody, I think we're approaching cabbage season. Actually, I don't know when cabbage season is. Does anybody know when cabbage season is? But that was a nice and sweet piece of cabbage. These chunks might be a little bit too thick. They might be a little bit too close. I'm going to go ahead, clean off my cutting board as I go. Clean it off. Get the cabbage inside of my bowl. Okay, let's cut off the next one. Get that guy out of here. Everybody, let's keep it nice and together, right? You don't want to break up these layers while we slice it. You want to still hold it all down and slice it all the way through. Don't chop it. Use the full length of your knife with as little vertical force as you need to be able to get to the end of it. Ideally, you don't want to hear too much of a hit as it thunks to the bottom. Okay? Everybody, whenever your cutting board gets a little bit too crowded, do not hesitate just to quickly clean up your station. Clean it up, get it going, clean it up, get it out of here. Excellent. And keep slicing the cabbage. You know, now that I'm looking at it, I do think maybe half a cabbage will be plenty for today. Again, I don't want too much. I don't want to make too much cabbage salad, especially because I find that these kinds of salads are things I get tired of pretty quickly. Learning, by the way, how to not make too much food has also been a bit of a process for me. I think I'm very used to just like food maxing, right? Giving everybody like a lot all at once. And then what would happen is I would have a fridge of a bunch of leftovers that I would get bored with. Cooking 3 times a week is ideal for me, so as long as I don't have leftovers that last more than 2 to 3 days in my home cooking routine. A lot of people, you know, they do meal preps, they pre-package a week's worth of food in advance. Sometimes that has like some potential like food safety issues. But otherwise, guys, if that's what you like doing, then you're absolutely welcome to do so as well. People have different relationships with food. People value food differently. If you don't want to put that much time into it, then you don't have to. If you want to do 1 day of meal prep and then give yourself lunches for an entire week ahead of you, I am not going to be one to stop you. That is not what I'm here to teach you guys how to do. And so, I don't want to make too much cabbage at once. So here we go. Everybody, let's get all of my lovely cabbage inside of this bowl. Okay, have you heard of the guy who did food weeks before and died from it? I have not, but it sounds like that would happen. I think that might be one risk of people unethically teaching meal prep. Okay, so everybody, this cabbage, if we added this to the salad now, it'll be a bit of a problem. Okay, because cabbage is so wet and so voluminous. It has a really, really huge crunch to it, but it's going to lose a lot of that volume and a little process with some salt. What we're going to do is heavily, generously cover this bad boy with a bunch of salt. We're going to then squeeze out all the liquid that comes out, and it's going to stop our salad from coming out soggy. So you want what is almost a little too much salt, right? Add a handful of salt, toss it around, and it goes. Take it, toss it around, just in the interest of getting everything nicely and evenly coated, my friends. Break up those clusters. Pinch of salt. And one last pinch of salt, my friends. And letting this sit for 30 minutes or so, 40 minutes, you are going to see just how much water comes out of the cabbage. You could also crunch it up a little bit at this stage, but the salt is going to act on it. It's going to pull out all of the excess liquid, and it's going to help get the cabbage nice and tender. Pre-salting your cabbage for your coleslaw or any kind of salad, always a must, everybody. So, salty cabbage, really salty because all the salt is on the outside. Some of it is going to penetrate, and a lot of it is going to come out in the excess liquid. So do not be afraid of the salt, my friends. Do not be afraid. Okay? Ooh, that was aggressively salty. In fact, I'm going to put this behind me. I'm just going to let that go ahead and do its thing. Just let it rest up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and peel the apples. We're going to go ahead and peel the carrot. You do know when it comes to fruit and vegetables, there is female and male, and both of them are different in taste. It depends on the fruit and vegetable symbolic noise. And yeah, different vegetables, they have different relationships with their sexuality, I guess. Like mushrooms, for example, I know they have their own very complex gendering system as well, which really checks out for them. I feel like if there was any, you know, well, it's not a vegetable, but any piece of produce, right, that would have a million genders, it would be mushrooms. Okay, anyways, next up. Apples. I have 2 apples. These are Honey Crisps, not ideal. I really like pink lady apples inside of salads. In my case today, this is all I got, so that's what I'm gonna be using. For half a head of cabbage, I think 1 apple is gonna be plenty. We could even do 2 if you want to get aggressive with it, but I don't want it to be that sweet, my friends. I just want a nice, good sweetness to the salad, and we don't need to add sugar for that. How many times have you had a coleslaw that is just saturated with sugar? It feels like you're eating a dessert. It is just pure mayonnaise, and it is pure sugar. Not what I'm looking for. Vegetable peeler, grab it, pivot it around the apple itself. If you want to be fancy with it, then you just go ahead and you take it and you go all the way around in perfect little circles all the time. But because I already started doing it this way, I'm gonna finish it this way. I'm gonna finish what I started, everybody. Okay, and I don't want the apple skin in this, especially just because the skin gets a little bit papery. If you were to make the salad and serve it immediately, the skin, depending on the kind of apple that you're using, could be nice. But in general, for me, not exactly my thing. Okay. So taking it, peeling it all the way around. Excellent. And for this, I'm going to be using my food processor. Again, I don't think my cabbage would have fit inside of my food processor, hence why I didn't do it before. But this time around, it's going to be accommodating the apples. Okay, so to go ahead and cut the core out, I don't really like using an apple core. Yes, it's a little bit more efficient, but the method that I keep coming back to everybody over and over again is just to always take the apple. You want to go directly down the middle, and then just do a couple of millimeters in either direction to go ahead and keep all of the core inside. Selena, welcome on in. Hope you're doing beautifully today. Even though I said hi to you sooner, I think you had to go somewhere or something. Okay, I'm just going ahead, I'm following the curvature of the apple itself, and then that's a good apple. Is it apple season? This is just my new thing. I'm going to take a bite out of any fruit and it's not awful. I'm gonna go, is it in season? That was a good apple. I'm impressed. I'm so tired of eating bad produce all the time. I feel like this summer, all the different fruits and vegetables that I got, especially tomatoes, sucked. It's apple picking season. Oh no, I'm gonna miss another year of apple picking season. Can't go on an apple picking date with a beautiful older woman. What's even the point anymore? This isn't worth it. None of this is worth it. Okay, apples, got them, ready to go. Not to sound like a, 30-year-old tweeting about it, like, oh, I missed apple picking season. I don't have somebody to do a matching Halloween costume with. Okay, yes, I enjoy some of those things, conceptually, at least, okay? Even if it's a little silly and a little normie of me to say, I think. Okay, it comes from a real place. So, apples, done, ready to go for today. Let's go ahead and do my carrot as well. We're gonna be starting off with like half a carrot. This is nice to do some of the thinner carrots, especially in the food processor, the ones that can be usually quite more annoying to prep. The only thing I'm gonna do is just quickly cut off the dried off end of Mr. Carrot. And then everybody, you guessed it, we're peeling it. We're peeling it. We're peeling it all the way. Yes, we are. Excellent. Peel it, get all that skin out of there, get it gone, say goodbye. You don't have to wash your carrot if you peel it. You could keep the skin on for cooking carrots, but honestly, for salads especially, don't really love the paperiness of the carrot skin, okay? My school PS 195 took us back there in the 1980s. Symbolic noise. That's, I don't know how good of an idea it is to put your, elementary school, that's a New York school, isn't it? PS. You put your elementary school inside of Twitch chat and the decade that you were born in. So I'm gonna have a moderator delete the message just for your own sake. Symbolic noise. So keep in mind that is not a great idea to do for yourself in the future. So I need help from a moderator. Trash can cat mom, cough cough, please. It'd be embarrassing if I didn't have any moderators show up for that. Okay, excellent, thank you. So we have a carrot. You know what, everybody? I'm looking at this amount of carrot. I think we can do the full carrot, right? We were going to do the full one, but nuke the VOD. I'm afraid I can't do that much. God's a loser. There's only so much I can do. Oh, Yoon Povi's social security number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's right. I'm glad that everybody feels so comfortable with me that they're giving me their social security numbers and their private personal information. That was the end goal, everybody. I got you guys good. You've all been successfully long gamed. Okay. Okay. That's okay, Symbolic. You don't have to apologize to me. You didn't do anything wrong to me. I was just more so concerned about you in this. Okay, cutting off the top of the carrot. Lovely. We got one apple. We got one carrot, mostly to bring a nice little element of sweetness inside of my salad today. I'm going to go ahead and get my lovely food processor ready to go. So I got to go ahead and get the grating attachment, set it up. Excellent. Now, where exactly is the right size canister for my food processor? Because I can't quite seem to find it at the moment. Forgot to say hi early. That's okay, Hulkin. Welcome on in. Hulkin, is this your first time chatting in the new stream? Either way, welcome on in. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Nice to see you again. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly set up my food processor, everybody. And it's just a really nice, easy way of being able to shred apples, shred carrots. We could have probably also done the cabbage, but my secret idea there was I kind of needed to pad a little bit of time today because we're not doing a crazy amount of stuff. So, any little extra task I can get went a long way for me. Okay? Let's go ahead and set it up, and you're going to see how nice and easy of a job my food processor does. You could just use a hand grater. I don't want to make the stream seem so inaccessible with all the different, little equipment that I've been using over time. But again, you could just grate this by hand. You could theoretically thinly slice it as well. You can also get like those vegetable peelers that have, that can like julienne something, right? So you have options. There's a lot of options if you don't have access to a food processor, okay? My cabbage salad, my friends, it is salting and it is currently sweating, okay? The salt is pulling out all of the excess moisture out of the cabbage that we do not want going into the final salad today. 1 hour and short stream almost over. We're actually not that far away from finishing. We'll make the chicken, we slice the cucumber, we make the sauce, we finish the salad. We don't really have all that much to do. So I wanted to keep it light, I wanted to keep it easy today. Right? And just use the ingredients that I wanted to go ahead and get rid of today. I had some excess chicken. I wanted to use that up. I was craving a sandwich, and so we're doing a chicken sandwich. Okay? Plugging it in. Come on, buddy. In you go. Why is this outlet so finicky every time I want to use it? This one outlet, everybody, the plastic nubs in there are all mispositioned. Hello? There we go. Excellent. Let's grate my vegetables. Or my produce, rather. Food processor on. It works. Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to see. We're going to go ahead and take the food, my friends, and guess what? We'll be pushing it through. Careful, chef. Nice thing with this is there's really no way to kind of injure yourself with it. So there's nothing to worry about. That's okay, Shark Dog. Thank you for stopping by. It's lovely to have you as always. Okay, everybody, what are we gonna do? You guessed it. We're gonna take it and we're gonna shove it down. Now, which one do I push it with? I think I should push it with this one. Take it, add it. That did not go in all the way. And I'm curious why that's the case. Maybe I should have been using the smaller one to be able to grind it up. So maybe my food processor not doing the best job at the moment. Yeah, it kind of gets stuck on like the thinnest part of the vegetable still, which I guess is a little bit annoying. How well is it doing? Aside from that, let's get these chunks of apple out of there. Guys, that is such a good apple. I'm impressed. That's not gonna go through. Yeah, that is up a little too high, and that one is down a little too low. Take it, add it, press it through. Excellent. Let's add the carrots. Let's get those guys done as well. Maybe I could use this to push it through instead. I don't know. I still haven't completely understood the way my food processor works. When we did the cheese, it did a pretty good job. Oh yeah. Okay, for longer pieces, this seems to be the method. This seems to be the way. This one, a little too thick to fit all the way in. So I'm gonna just put him down like this. And close it. Okay, and let's get the last carrot. Okay, so I mostly got it shredded up, okay? We got my apple in there, we got my carrot in there, all right? It's all nicely ground up, my friends, and it's gonna be ready and perfect to go through the salad. Again, you don't have to do it this way. You could hand chop it if you would like, right? You have a lot of options. So, quickly getting my stuff off of it, and you're gonna see how nice of a job it did for us today. Get rid of this guy, open this up. Oh, hello. Ooh, the carrots especially, everybody. If you come take a look at these carrots, you're gonna see how perfect they are. Look at these carrots. Look at these lovely shreds. Oh, that is not the carrot at all. Look at my carrots. Look at these lovely shreds of carrot. I know I'm talking about this like it's an innovation, but you know, every time I do anything inside of this thing, I get really excited about it, okay? So it's fun, it's great. Cool. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy. Probably have to leave him inside a little bit longer. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and gently move this anywhere else. Chef is like a dad with a power tool? That's right. Oh my God, that must be the joy of being a dad and getting like a new power tool and getting like a new drill. I get it. I understand it. Guys, cooking is sometimes about having fun toys that light up and make funny little sounds. There's a lot of magic to it. Sous vide machines and you know, food processors, they feel magical. There's a real sense of whimsy and beauty to them. Okay. But yeah, Shark Dog, it was lovely having you. Thank you for stopping by. Once again, if anybody has any questions, now would be an amazing time to ask. So we just have one apple in here, and we have one whole carrot. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move this around. Yeah, that's right. You got an immersion blender and you feel like a wizard? That is exactly the point. Cooking is supposed to be fun. Cooking is supposed to be accessible. And sometimes, you know what makes things fun? Having fun toys. Okay? Having fun toys that work well. Right? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just move this aside. This is going to get combined with the carrot later on, with cabbage, excuse me, later on. I'm not adding it in immediately though, because the cabbage is still soaking with a little bit of the salt. Okay, this bad boy, I think we can just rinse him off easily. I don't think even he dictates a full wash. Okay, what do we have to do in the meantime, my friends? Well, the cabbage is done, the carrots are done, the apples are done. Let's go ahead and begin prepping some of the cilantro for the salad and then some scallions for the sandwich. Okay, so gonna get those bad boys out of the fridge. And so I'm going with a bit of a, oh no, I forgot to shred the jalapenos. That was the one thing I forgot to do. That was the one thing I neglected to do, everybody. I wanted to shred the jalapenos in there as well, but I've already put it away. So we'll just have to go ahead and slice it by hand. All right, everybody, I got all of this leftover cabbage. We're gonna go ahead and use all of it for today. Let's just get it done. Let's get it out of here. I wanna be finally free of this cabbage. Oh yeah, the cilantro, that is. I'm a little bit of a mess today. It's early in the day for me, okay? This is morning time. We're gonna take the cilantro, and you guessed it, we're going to take all of the leaves off of the stems. And the reason we do that, everybody, is just because the texture of the stems is not so good. This would be the time to ask me questions if you have any. Everybody, we could also do a little bit of housekeeping. Hi, if this is your first time watching or you have been a watcher for a while, if you'd like to directly financially support the cooking show, my friends, consider subscribing on the Patreon. All the money from the Patreon goes directly back into the cooking show. The Patreon doesn't give you much in return. It just kind of gives you the satisfaction of being able to support the show. I want to keep the show free. I want to keep the show free of advertisements as well. And in order to do that, the Patreon is pretty essential. So, support that if you can. Going through the cilantro. I notice you tend to use cilantro in your dishes quite a bit. What would you say are your staple herbs at home? Cilantro is the staple herb, and then I would say secondary is parsley. Cilantro I use all the time, just specifically because of how often I make Mexican or other Latin American dishes. Right? And of course, cilantro is used all the time there. I love it in Mediterranean food, and I just love the fact that you could kind of put cilantro into any cuisine ever, and it would all be good anyways. Okay, so once again, getting my leaves off the stems. But yeah, that's the reason why I have cilantro. It makes the most sense for me in my own home kitchen, and I'm able to keep it nice and fresh for extended amounts of time using my Tupperware and paper towel method. Keeps the humidity inside, stops it from drying out. Just a very good method that everybody should be doing, quite frankly. I don't love doing this water jar method. Right? Sometimes people, they say, oh, you have to store your cilantro like they're flowers. And I've never seen it ever once work out. People just kind of say things sometimes when it comes to food. And fresh herbs, oh boy. Oh, they say things all the time about it. Okay. But yeah, I like cilantro because I feel like cilantro compared to other herbs, I could use up more of it at once. And that's important for me. So that I'm not left with too much cilantro. So many people, they always get like stuck with like too many fresh herbs. They don't know what to do with it. Again, everybody, to keep it alive and well as long as possible, I always do my method inside of a Tupperware with some paper towels in it, okay? So, back to this. We're gonna take the cilantro, my friends, and we're just going to really, really thinly and properly slice this bad boy down. We don't wanna chop it, right? We don't wanna destroy it. We just wanna go ahead and really properly, thinly slice him. So, take the cilantro, bundle it up. Bundle it up, my friends. Sack it down onto your cutting board and get nice, thin, proper slices. My oven is beeping. Everybody, my chicken thighs should be theoretically cooked through. So at this point in time, we can just turn off the oven. We could probably leave the chicken thighs inside of the oven just so that it stays a little bit warm, right? The chicken thighs, they don't have to be, you don't have to worry about overcooking them as much. So I'll just turn off the oven. I'll leave it inside of the warm oven for a little bit so that my chicken stays nice and hot, my friends. And at the same time, it'll finish doing any kind of carryover cooking. It'll stay nice and juicy, and it's not gonna cool down. Okay, so slice it, my friends. Full length of your knife, full slices, full slices. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly turn off my oven. And everybody, again, that is the magic. That is the magic of chicken thighs. You said it right, Chai Chica. They're helpful, they're so accessible, they're so easy. You can't really mess up a chicken thigh. I will continue to believe and preach over and over again. Okay, actually, wait, 300 degrees for 30 minutes. I wanna do at least 10 more minutes at 300. 10 more minutes. I'm gonna take that one back, my friends. I think because even though it was bone out, 10 to 11 more minutes or so. That, hello, pursue you from Twitter. Well, Mario, welcome on in. That is the most horrific collection of emotes I've ever seen before. But thank you for stopping by. I've never seen a quadruple stacked emote, only horizontal. Okay, everybody, I have some lovely cilantro here. I'm just going to go ahead, scrape it up, and add it in with the carrot. We're going to go to the cabbage. We're going to strain out all of the excess liquid from it, my friends. If you see whose emotes this is, it would make sense. Well, I want to see whose emotes these are. Oh, these are Germa's emotes? Okay, I guess that makes sense. I don't know anything about Germa though, but I guess that works out. Okay, everybody, we have some carrots, we have some apple, we have some cilantro. And what we're going to do is we're going to just begin with one jalapeno. Please keep in mind that jalapenos tend to really vary in terms of how much spice that they have. So we're gonna do one jalapeno for now, taste it, and then if we wanna add more, we can always add in a little bit more, okay? So, one green jalapeno, my friends. Gonna move that bad boy aside. Grab my petty knife. Okay, now it's baking 9 more minutes or so, 10 more minutes. Again, my goal, I want my chicken thigh to be juicy and I want it to be as physically tender as possible, my friends. So, there's a slightly spoiled end of the jalapeno. I'm actually going to take off a bigger chunk than that. Don't touch your face. Oh, Godzillas, I'm going to forget, and that's okay. Did I ever read the article about how jalapenos are being modified to be milder? Hot Sauce Junior, I never read it, but I have heard it, and that's something I've been talking about lately. Right, so jalapeno, again, mostly just because we're going through that southwestern feel through the salad. We don't want it to be too spicy because a chicken sandwich is going to be a little bit hot, right? We have some cayenne on the seasoning paste, and then we're going to be doing like a little hot sauce-based sauce for it, right? Inspired by like a buffalo dressing. Okay, so here we go. We have the jalapeno. I want to go ahead and cut this first into, let's just say some thin strips, just like this. Nice thin strips, my friends. And then we'll go ahead and get a very nice small dice out of it. And we're gonna do seeds and all because this is not a small quantity of salad. Cabbage ended up being quite substantial. Nice and thin, all the way. All the way, everybody. All the way through, all the way. Seeds and all, get a little bit of extra heat into them. Okay, and now my friends, the only goal that I have left at this point is I want to get nice, thin little slices, just so that the jalapenos are evenly spread out throughout the salad, and you never really want to bite into a massive chunk of jalapeno inside of a salad like this, okay? And if you do want to do that by, whichever means, you can go ahead and do so. You can do big chunks, but in my case, I'm just going to be doing a nice, little, tiny, pathetic, small dice for today. Okay, nice little small dice. Get it together, get it going. Just like so. Again, you don't want massive chunks of jalapeno. You want it to be evenly spread out in the salad. And the nice part about the whites and the seeds, they tend to break down a little bit. TBH, I don't mind. I think the flavor is inimitable, but they can keep the version with the heat around too. I mean, serranos, they have the flavor, right, that you're looking for in that case. Serranos are really hot, right? Well, they tend to be a lot hotter than a jalapeno, that is. But they still have that vegetal flavor, right, that we're really looking for out of the jalapeno itself. Okay, my friends, guess what? We have my jalapeno all ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and wash up my hands really quickly. Wash off my paws, get it out of here. The sandwich is gonna be good. That's right, Askia, you got it. So, one whole jalapeno. I'm gonna just add that in with the rest of my vegetables for the salad. I've already touched my face once. Shy chicas, so I've not been spared of anything. I just touched my face. I caught myself halfway into doing it, but I almost did it fully. Okay, so that's done. That's ready to go. We're gonna do the scallions for the sandwich afterwards. But did it hurt? Not yet. I didn't rub it in yet. Didn't get a chance to do all that. Okay, everybody, we got cabbage. We got it. It's ready to go. It's ready to happen. What are we gonna do? We're going to squeeze it of all of its liquid. Look how sweaty this cabbage looks, right? It looks pretty sweaty, doesn't it? And that's exactly what we wanted to achieve, my friends. We wanted to go ahead and get rid of all of that excess moisture, because otherwise it would have gone ahead and made our salad a little too soggy, and it would have made it a little bit too salty. This helps to tenderize the cabbage. This basically physically breaks it down enough, and it makes it more tender and more easy for us to be able to chew it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the final salad bowl. And we've lost a lot of volume out of the cabbage. I've realized with time, I don't actually like to salt it for too long. I find that if you salt it for too long, what ends up happening is it really sort of completely collapses, and it's just like these weird little papery bits. Okay, we don't have to put this in a salad spinner or anything today, my friends. Only thing I'm doing, I'm just gonna be squeezing out as much of that salty liquid as I can manage. Okay, as much of it as possible in one small handful at a time. You don't want to go too big of a handful, because then that way you're not going to get enough little canals for the water to come out of. Okay, you're going to get such a tight bound, and you're only going to squeeze the cabbage that's on the outside. So doing this in small handfuls, pretty critical in my opinion. Okay, I've even done this with the tortilla press before. You wrap that up in a little bit of plastic and it'll work out good. Okay, take it, just totally press it, my friends. Press it out, press it out. All of that liquid, you want it gone. It's too salty, okay? It did the job for us. Everybody that's watching, please say thank you, Mr. Salt. Please and thank you. My chicken's almost going to be done in a second. Big squeeze. That's only 3 people. Also, Amelia, after lunch, welcome on in. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Squeezing my cabbage. Little redundant, little repetitive process, but that's okay. Sometimes cooking is repetitive. Sometimes you have to do a lot of things in a lot of batches. Okay? And I'll be able to make 1 sandwich for myself today and 1 sandwich for my roommate. We'll have a chicken sandwich each. It'll be tasty. Have a nice little creamy, spicy sauce to go along it. Have a nice little fresh cabbage salad. Some nice allium, some nice onions. The only thing I am missing from my salad, everybody, ideally, you know, something like romaine lettuce. You want something that's crispy, but something that's like tender inside of it. So in my case, I would have done a romaine lettuce ideally, but then I had the idea to go ahead and do a cucumber. And I would always prefer not to buy lettuce. Lettuce, it goes bad quite fast. It's not very nutritious, right? And I do love the taste and texture of cucumbers, my friends. Okay. Look at how much water. Look at all of that water that came out of the cabbage, my friends. That is precisely why we salt it. And this is the steps that you see, especially for something like a kimchi. In a kimchi, salting your cabbage is essential. Okay? It is the first step, helps to clean it out a little bit technically, but really it's mostly just about getting all of that excess liquid gone and out of the way. All right, rinsing off my hands. Everybody, we can now begin combining the final salad. We're going to be doing some lime juice in there. We might need to even adjust it with a little bit more salt. And my only hope at the moment is that I have enough carrot and I have enough apple that my salad is nice and sweet. I want to have a nice balance of herbaceousness with the cilantro, and I want some heat out of my jalapenos as well. So in goes all of my vegetables that I grated up. Okay, and I'm going to be using some tongs just to be able to help mix in everything. 2 more minutes on the chicken, and then I'm going to just keep it in the warm oven. Again, chicken thighs, so easy to do in a home setting because chicken breast can be so finicky. Gracefully Insane, welcome on in. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Look at these lovely shreds of, oh, actually, everybody, look how nicely my food processor handled the apple. Look at these shreds of apple. Whoa, I'm impressed, actually. That is quite impressive to me. Look at that apple. That looks wonderful. That looks beautiful. Okay, everybody, last addition for now is going to be the lime juice. Okay, we're going to take this bad boy. We're going to slice him in half. Right, slice it in half. And then, as always, as you all may know, I hate juicing citrus by hand. I think that it is a waste of time and it's a little bit strenuous. So what do I do instead? I'm going to go ahead and get my little citrus press. Everybody flesh side down. Some people think it's flesh side up. Nope, it is flesh side down. Flesh side down, push it in, invert it, and get all of that gorgeous lime juice inside. We're going to begin with just half a lime's worth of juice today. Then we're going to taste it for seasonings. We're going to taste it for salt. I'm not even going to do black pepper in this because, you know, I just want something very, very clean, very simple. Okay? And let's mix in the cabbage with the jalapenos and with the cilantro. I could use my hands, but because of the fact that I added something acidic, I wanted to avoid touching it directly with my hands. Again, everybody, when you're cooking with dry skin, when you have eczema, it can make a lot of aspects of cooking really, really annoying sometimes. Okay, my oven is all done. It's all set. My chicken should be nice and cooked. Only thing that's happening now, everybody, is I'm letting it steam. I'm letting it stay warm inside of that hot oven. That is the benefit of doing it at 300 degrees and nothing higher. Right? And that is the benefit of using up those chicken thighs. Also, I would use a glove to mix this, but everybody, I found out that using a nitrile glove, some of the smell of the glove, even like powderless, odorless gloves, I think it might be because of the abrasion with the salt or something, or the exposure to acidity that long, right? But something is actually physically breaking down the glove whenever I try to hand mix cabbage with it. And that's why I didn't do it when I was doing the salt portion. And that's why I'm not doing it now. I don't know if anybody knows about that or why that happens. But usually if something tastes like something, it's because something either dissolved it, or physically broke it down in some way, whichever. Okay, break up those clusters of cabbage, break up those clusters of apple, my friends. Make sure that everybody is integrating with everybody, that they're all mingling, okay? Because that is what a cabbage salad is supposed to be, of course. It's not supposed to be little clumps of cabbage. You want to have all of your vegetables, all of your produce, nice and evenly distributed with one another, okay? Remember, you can't undermix this. Well, I messed this up again. You can't overmix it, but you can't undermix it. It's not that the cabbage would be absorbing, right? I don't think it's that. I think it might just be salt and rubbing salt on it. Woo! I just got a big bite of jalapeno. Okay, I taste it. Let me taste it again. Mmm. You know, enough acidity, nice and sweet. A little bit more salt, and I think we're perfect. Quite tasty. A little bit more salt. And again, we don't want to put all the salt in at once. We want to do a layer of salt at a time, and then kind of like fold it over, just so that we evenly salt it. Salt it again. Break up those clusters. Mix it in a little bit. Bring the bottoms to the top. And hit it with another round of salt. Yeah, gracefully insane. That's the conclusion that I came to as well. Okay, I think that should now be enough salt for my quick little cabbage salad. And letting this kind of a salad sit, by the way, is ideal. The lime juice is gonna act upon the cabbage. It's gonna help make the salad a little bit more tender, and the cabbage is gonna get softer over time. Okay, but for the time being, I love these kinds of salads. They hold up exceptionally well in the fridge because they're not employing the use of lettuce, they're not employing the use of spinach or anything. So I love doing these in the beginning of the week, and this is the kind of a salad that you can eat a lot of. Again, not gonna be doing a mayonnaise-based one or anything today, just because I'm gonna have this be served with the chicken, okay? And the chicken is already gonna be getting a mayonnaise-based sauce. So I wanted something very, very light by comparison. We mixed in the salt, my friends. Taste it again. I mean, clean, simple, tasty, delicious. It does everything that we want it to. Once again, cabbage, apple, carrot, cabbage, apple, carrot, lime juice, cilantro, jalapeno, nice and simple. Yeah, that's all done. That's all ready to go, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and throw him into the fridge just to go ahead and cool off a little bit. And then we can proceed with the rest of the stuff for today's sandwich. Okay. So, 3 last components left to make, my friends. We gotta make the, or 4 components. I wanna hear a nice yes chef from everybody watching, please and thank you. We need to slice the scallions. That's gonna be one step. We need to slice the cucumbers. That's gonna be another step. Then we're going to need to go ahead and make the sauce, toast the buns, and then we'll go ahead and assemble it. This type of cabbage is more mainstream in America compared to the tomato, cucumber, onion Mediterranean salad. Yeah. This is a very like typical American style cabbage salad. The thing is though, I find that most American coleslaws painfully sweet, aggressive amounts of sugar inside of them, and macaroni salads too. Don't like it, and so that's why I try to include things like carrots and apples that would be able to add that sweetness without needing to heavily oversaturate it with any additional sugars. Okay, so I have a cucumber. All right, we're going to go ahead, we're gonna take the cucumber, and we're going to only do a small little bit of cucumber. This is just to give the sandwich a little bit of crunch. Normally, I pre-salt my cucumbers. I am not gonna be pre-salting my cucumbers today, my friends, because again, the goal is to get crispy cucumbers. If we salt it, it will break it down a little bit and it will cause it to almost tenderize, okay? So, cucumber. This is an English cucumber, unfortunately, meaning the skin tends to be a little bit waxy sometimes. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel off some parts of the skin, just like so. I still want the flavor of the skin itself, right? But just to help make it a little bit more tender, I'm going to go ahead and cut off a little bit of it. And now, my friends, with a nice sharp knife or a mandolin, I want thin slices. You want a nice long knife, not a petty knife for this. Everybody, let me show you something right now. If we take this knife right now and we chop it, who is gonna guess what's gonna happen? Are we gonna get a beautiful slice? Let's find out. That slice, not so bad. Let's go a little bit thinner. Look what happened. It popped out. it cleaved out, my friends. In order to get perfect slices, you need to slice the knife, right? And the difference is, we're gonna go base to tip, or tip to base, right? That one I messed up a little bit still. That's okay. There you go. Beautiful. Not paper thin, a little bit more than that, but you just don't want thick cucumber slices, everybody. Right, that one I messed up, too much vertical force. Look at those slices. That's good. That's good. And these are just going to get shingled onto the sandwich, my friends. Okay. Beautiful. It's going to add a nice fresh crunch to it, and it's also going to help cut a little bit of the heat. So maybe 5 to 6 slices per sandwich. This is like the slices of bread that Mickey gives Goofy and Donald in that one meme. That's right. Sometimes that's exactly what we need. Okay. Going through the cucumber. So yeah, this is also going to be a much needed bland element inside of this kind of food, everybody, okay? Just slice it. Beautiful slice. Just slice it. Beautiful slice. Slice it. Don't salt it, don't put it away. This is also why sandwiches can be a little bit tricky. Because a lot of the vegetable components, you don't want them to get soggy. Everybody, especially if you're doing something like tomatoes in a sandwich, you cannot cut it too far ahead of time. You want a freshly cut tomato so that the skin and the flesh doesn't get all soft and papery, okay? How many times have you been to Subway and you got one of the tomatoes from there in the beginning of the day and they might be crispy, and then one of the ones later in the day, they're so soggy and wet and mushy, okay? You want freshly sliced vegetables for a sandwich like this. Okay, next component, everybody. We want some alliums. We want some nice scallions in the sandwich. You could do red onions if you would like. Pickled red onions, I think, would be even better than something like this. In my case, though, I just wanted a nice allium-y bite to the whole thing, okay? So, bunch of scallions. On she goes. I would call this a buffalo chicken sandwich, but it's not fried, and I'm not using Frank's Red Hot. So even though that might help to get the point across a little bit, I don't actually think it's the best way to go about it. Okay. Sometimes I don't want, I want to name a dish that's inspired by like a buffalo chicken sandwich, but it's definitely not a buffalo chicken sandwich in its concept, right? For a buffalo chicken sandwich, you need a spicy vinegar-based hot sauce, traditionally Frank's Red Hot. It would need to be fried, and then you would either just do like a pure mayonnaise buffalo dressing or a pure butter and hot sauce buffalo sauce. Okay, so come take a look. Scallions right here. I want to go ahead and just get these scallions nicely and thinly shredded to go up on a nice beautiful mound in the sandwich. Okay. If today looks any good, I don't think the chicken's gonna be thick enough, but we could do like a, dare I say, a cross section. So thinly slice your scallion greens, my friends. We're gonna pile them nice and high in the sandwich. Did someone say hot sauce? That's right, Serena. Last two components, my friends, will be to make the sauce. And once the sauce is made, we'll go ahead and toast the buns. Once the buns are toasted, we'll assemble ourselves a nice beautiful sandwich and get it thrown onto the plate. Oh my gosh, hot sauce junior, that's a good bit. Perfect. Okay. So everybody, for my sauce for the sandwich today, I'm gonna be doing a combination of yogurt and mayonnaise. The reason why I wanted to do this combination of yogurt and mayonnaise, okay, is because mayonnaise just by itself, what it does is it really gives you a nice viscous texture and it's able to hold everything up really well. But the issue with it, I just feel like it doesn't have as much flavor as I would like. And not that I'm usually too afraid of how much fat I eat in a dish. This is already a pretty fatty dish, right? We're going to have the chicken thighs themselves. That's dark meat. It's quite rich. It's going to be on a brioche bun that's toasted with butter. Okay, I always toast bread with butter. I refuse to not do so. And in order to compensate a little bit, I just want a little bit of lightness to it. And that is exactly where the yogurt is going to come in. Just again, stopping it from being too heavy, stopping it from becoming too dense. Overall, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a small little bowl, my friends. And we're going to make enough sauce for 2 sandwiches or so. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get some yogurt. Just get a couple of spoons in. I'm not gonna be exactly measuring or anything. A couple of nice big spoons of yogurt. And so yeah, buffalo sauces and dressing, everybody, are usually very, very minimalistic. You don't do a lot of spices. You don't do Worcestershire sauce. For a proper buffalo sauce, it's just melted butter and hot sauce. For buffalo dressing, it's just mayonnaise, or in my case, yogurt. So I'm still trying to keep this true, in a way, to the spirit of what we're doing. But if you want to add other stuff, feel free to do so. What happened, Sunny Peach Kush? I have Brawlhalla commentary later today. And so I wanted to just go ahead and get a nice little lunch treat done. So my friends, a couple of nice big spoons of yogurt, okay? This isn't Greek yogurt, this is just plain probiotic yogurt. So, again, we don't want too much yogurt. It's there to give us a little bit of a lactic tang, but we don't want too much of it because it will make our sauce too watery, okay? Next, we're gonna add a bunch of hot sauce in. This is the heart and the soul, my friends, of this kind of a sauce for a sandwich, for a buffalo-inspired sauce. So what do we need? We need an aggressive amount of a vinegar-based hot sauce. You don't really want to use like a habanero hot sauce. You want to do anything that is similar to the style of Frank's Red Hot. Guys, sauce is looking good, but again, take a look at the viscosity or the lack thereof. All that hot sauce made it super, super watery. That yogurt made it watery. So what do? Mayonnaise. Give it a nice shake. Get it to fill in there a little bit. And now we need enough mayonnaise just to be able to get our final viscosity, my friends, that we want for the sauce. Okay? Not too thin, not too thick, but something nice and spreadable. At the moment, I'm gonna still say that it's too runny. So a little bit more mayonnaise goes in. And you can feel free to adjust this as much as or as little as you would like to. It is entirely up to you, my friends. You are the sultan of your sauce. You know who would say that? Chef John from Food Wishes. He would say that. Some fresh herbs would be probably excellent in here as well. But I think in my case today, that's yummy. That's tasty. It's a little acidic. Are mayonnaise and yogurt not food cousins? No, not at all. They're not related at all, I would think. Okay? We got my scallions, we have my cucumbers, my salad is also completed, everybody, and is currently chilling out in the fridge. My chicken thighs are cooked up, they're sitting in the oven at the moment. The last step that we're going to go ahead and do for today is we're going to go ahead and butter and toast some buns. We'll assemble the sandwich, we'll plate it up, and hopefully it comes out tasty today. So, let me go ahead and really quickly get rid of a couple of things that we no longer need, right? The hot sauce I might keep around. I'm gonna get rid of my yogurt, I'm gonna get rid of my mustard. We're gonna go ahead and grab a nice large non-stick pan. Oh, this one might be too big. I think it'll still be okay. So, nice large non-stick pan. Grab that bad boy. I'm gonna go ahead and take it, my friends, and I'm just gonna preheat it on a nice low heat. Nice and low, nice and slow, okay, because I wanna get it nice and evenly heated all the way through, okay? I'm gonna do just the one sandwich at the moment. How did I get into commentating? Well, Sunny Peach Crush, I always loved being on camera. I was a competitor for a couple of years. I was a really huge nerd about Smash. And then I did it once, and people told me I did an amazing job. And I really loved analyzing the game and talking about it. So that was my origin story in commentary. Okay, so. One pizza boy. What are you talking about? What's going on? Guys, my bangs today, they keep leaving this blind spot in my hair. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I cut my bangs too short or something, but I'm annoyed. Stop it. Okay, that's gonna be enough. Brioche. So, let's talk about some bread choices, my friends. Okay, you boy, so QZ, bit of an intimate question, I think, to ask. I think I have my pronouns somewhere on my Twitch, so just go by that. I'm curious why you're asking. Actually, I'm curious what your intentions are, QZ. So I'm not going to immediately ban you quite yet. I'm curious why you're asking. Hair looks good though, thank you. I just don't love the blind spot in my bangs a little bit. Those can be quite annoying. Okay, everybody, let's grab the brioche. So again, brioche, not my ideal choice for the chicken sandwich. I find it to be a little too thick. I find it to be a little too cakey, a little bit too sweet. Chef, where can we catch the match? If you don't mind, you should grow your mustache. Yeah, there you go. So that kind of stuff there, yeah, a little bad faith, buddy. Relax. Where can we catch the match? Oh, the match for Brawlhalla. Twitch.tv/ProBrawlhalla. Okay, everybody, brioche. Potato rolls would have been ideal. I know I've said that a few times, but there you go. I have some butter that I've had softening for a good while now. In fact, I don't even think I'm gonna grab a butter knife. I'll just use my petty knife because it's already out. It's already been in use. We got it soft enough that we can spread it around. Okay, and so per sandwich, we do want to be mindful that we're not adding too much butter, specifically just because, everybody, this is already brioche. It's already super buttery. So honestly, maybe like half a tablespoon of butter per sandwich. Again, normally I'm never like this much of a stickler. I guess that would be the word. I'm not that much of a stickler for a, food shouldn't be too calorie dense, food shouldn't be too fatty, but this is just, we're talking about the eating experience, okay? And I think having too much butter, having too much fat would significantly diminish the eating experience. Let's grab it and let's go ahead and spread it out, my friends. And so I don't like spreading it in multiple angles. All that I really do is I take it and rotate it, and I rotate it, and I rotate it, and as I rotate it, I'll go ahead and go all the way around. In fact, I may use a butter knife because my petty knife is slightly scraping up the sides of that bread. Okay? I want to get the bread warm. I want to get it nice and golden. I want to get it a little bit toasty, my friends. I don't want to butter the second side, but we'll flip it over on the second side just to get it heated up a little bit. It's not to toast the second side. It's just to get it nice and warmed up, everybody. So that's one. Now let's do the second one. I wish my butter was a little bit more softened, but everybody, country girls make do. Butter it up, butter it up, butter it up, butter it up, just like so. Just double checking on something. So sorry, I think I'm just triple checking that my work does not need me. Okay, perfect. Wait, what happened? What did I say? Why did people go, huh? Does the butter help prevent the moisture from other stuff from making the bun soggy? So, not quite gracefully insane, but what it does do is it gives us a more of a tender crispiness to the buns themselves, as opposed to like a hard shattering toast. Imagine the texture of toast, right? You just stick it right into the toaster oven. It's not very soft, it's not very tender, even if you were to butter it afterwards. For whatever reason, frying or cooking a piece of bread with some fat instead of just like straight direct heat, it just completely changes the texture in my mind. So I always butter up my buns. Okay, everybody, my brioche buns, ready to go. They're all set. My pan has been slowly preheating. Okay, you want to make sure that it's not too hot because otherwise it will unevenly cook it. Oh, because I said country girls make do. I say that all of the time. Grab it, put it down. You don't want to hear too much of a sizzle at this stage, my friends. You just want to put it down, and ideally you would have a chef weight. Something, not too much weight on this. This is just going to help to keep the bun in contact with the pan, and it's also going to help to flatten it a little bit, okay? So it's been nicely and evenly buttered. We're going to spin it around in its own fat because that helps it get into all the crevices, clockwise and counterclockwise. Same idea if you were to mop the floor, right? If you're gonna mop the floor, you don't wanna just go back and forth in one direction because then food, little bits of stuff on the ground, not food, well, could be food, but little bits of stuff are just going to get stuck in all the different little grooves and cracks. So you wanna go all the way in multiple directions, forward and back. And that's why, my friends, it's going to evenly, properly glaze it up. You might take a brush and butter up that bun, but I promise you, moving it around and spinning it, it has more of a pronounced effect than you would think. You might think I'm dragging this, but I'm not, okay? I'm also going to begin taking my chicken out of the oven, right? It's hot, it's juicy, it should be nice and tender, it should be hopefully a little bit flavorful. My hot sauce is not as spicy as I would have liked it to be, honestly. So that's okay, but we'll figure it out somehow. Just gonna go ahead and quickly open up my pouch of chicken just to see how it cooked. And I think it cooked up quite well. It smells excellent inside of the foil package at the moment. Just gonna check up. Ooh, we have hit the point where the brioche is now a little bit too hot to handle just by itself. So grab that for a second, flip it back on over, my friends. Grab that for a second. Just again, rotate it as it cooks as well. So it gets a nice even crust, everybody. Okay, the center of it tends to be the hottest. So this half and this half of the bun are going to toast before the rest of it does. Okay, so make sure that we're constantly moving it around and moving it to different parts of the pan. Okay, it'll be great. Perfect. How's this guy going? Ooh, that one's doing pretty good. That one's getting nice and toasted, my friends. It's getting nice and browned. I don't know why it's going faster than the other one. Yeah, I also don't love large pans at home. They don't evenly heat up. The sides of it tend to still stay a little bit cold. Right? Even if you were to heat it up super, super slowly, I feel like they're quite notorious for that, in my mind at least. Okay? Not jerking it too much, not bothering it too much. Just gonna press it down and help it to evenly cook up, my friends. Let's see how this guy's doing. Oh yeah, everybody, those buns, they're getting buttered, they're getting toasted, they're gonna get nice and golden, they're gonna get nice and delicious, and then we'll go ahead and assemble a sandwich. Today was a really short stream, less than 2 hours practically, right? Slowly toasting it, my friends, that is the key to getting an evenly toasted bun. If you don't slowly toast it, it's not gonna be evenly toasted. You'll have spots that are a little bit more soggy. Have I watched the menu and thoughts about the cooking in that movie? I have watched the menu, Sunny Peach Crush. I thought, you know, it's like kind of like a cult horror film. I think the political commentary that they were doing is like quite dated. Like it's very like, a lot of people are like, oh, this says a lot about fine dining and fine dining restaurants. And I personally sincerely disagree with that statement. I don't think it's all that true. So I have indeed watched the menu. I have indeed seen it. I think it's fun. I had a fun time watching it. I think the ending where she, well, I probably shouldn't spoil it, but it's already been out long enough. Everybody, look how nice and toasted that is. Look how nice and golden that is. I wanted that side to get a little bit black. We didn't butter the other side, okay, because it has plenty of fat. I promise you right now, my friends, it does not need more fat. You don't need more fat in the sandwich. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and just dry out a little bit that second side because it's going to help give us a little bit more structure and a little bit more stability. Again, I don't want to significantly toast that second side. We're just getting it nice and heated through and just dry enough that it's able to hold up as a sandwich. Otherwise, when bread is warmed, it just gets so soft. Okay, so I think that is going to be perfect. I think that this guy is going to be perfect. Everybody, we can begin assembling the sandwich. Is everybody ready for this? I want to hear a nice yes, chef, please and thank you from everybody that is still watching. Let's do it. So, sandwich time. To the bread we go. A lot of people, they like to do sauce first. I actually, in recent times, have moved away from that. Sauce first, it immediately seeps onto the bread. The cucumbers might be a little bit wet, but the sauce will seep into the bread itself and make it soggy. So my preferred first step is to either do the cucumbers or to do the lettuce, one or the other. That one's a little too thick. Again, I wanted a nice, generous amount of cucumbers today, my friends, just to help to balance out the sandwich, okay? Really simple stuff. Now that we have the cucumbers on, nice and shingled, right? It's holding together, it's not all sliding out, it's pretty. Let's go ahead and get a nice spoon, generous spoon that is, of my lovely sauce. You don't want to go right to the edges. It's all going to flow out of the edges if you do it right to the edges. So do it right next to the edges, my friends. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my lovely little piece of chicken. It's cooked with the honey. It's cooked with some of the spices. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab that bad boy now. Everybody, it's looking quite good. It's shredding apart in my tongs. So that's a very good sign that it is done. Everybody look at that lovely piece of chicken. Yeah, I know it doesn't completely canvas it, but that's okay. It's juicy, it's soft, it's tender, and it's above all else delicious, my friends. Okay. Chicken on. Next, let's go ahead and do another layer of sauce directly onto the chicken itself. Probably could have used more mayonnaise, less yogurt in retrospect, but that's okay. A little bit of sauce. Nice generous mound of scallions right on top. Top bun on. And then everybody, do we want to go all the way? Oh, I would have suggested to like wrap it in foil. Oh no, I can't do that. I could wrap it in parchment paper. Everybody, do you think this is worth wrapping in parchment paper and then cutting off on half? There's a spider on the lens? What do you mean there's a spider? What are we talking about? Is there a spider? I think we should cover it. Wrap it up. Gonna help it to hold together, hopefully. Ideally, I would have like grease-proof paper. But... So that piece is too small, actually. Okay. Oh, you're just a guy? Okay, I got scared. I thought there was a spider on my camera lens for a second. Everybody, nice, warm, delicious sandwich. Nice toasted bread. We can already see that natural divot where we want to cut it in half. Okay, we're going to take this bad boy. We're going to first, actually, do it like this. We're going to take it, fold over this side first. Then we take this, and we wrap it around. And we take this, my friends, and we wrap it around. We're going to tuck in those corners ever so slightly. And we're going to take my lovely sandwich and wrap it up in a little bit of paper. Oh, well, I don't think I'm doing that good of a job wrapping it, but that's okay. It's just gonna help it to hold a little bit more together when I cut it in half. I wish I had some foil. Chef, how good is Jigglypuff in Melee and would I recommend? Jigglypuff is very unique. There's nobody quite like Jigglypuff in Melee. Yes, Jigglypuff is very good. Historically, at one point, I think rated #1 in the game. Still, excellent character. Grab a nice little knife. Take it, everybody. Slice it in half. Again, this just helps us to keep it together when we slice it. And at the end of the day, it's a very small, thin, pathetic little sandwich, but I think it's gonna be perfect, and I think it's gonna be delicious. We lost a lot of its appeal, right, because we flattened and smushed the bread a little bit, but now it holds up much better when we go ahead and plate it. So, I'm gonna grab a plate. I'm gonna grab a plate large enough to accommodate the sandwich, and then we'll also get some salad on. We'll do a recap session, and then we'll be out of here. Okay? Nice and juicy, nice and tender. Chef, where do you suggest someone that knows little to nothing about cooking begin their journey? So Derek, first of all, you're in the right place. Second of all, that's a bit of a challenging question because it all depends on your own cooking goals and the kinds of things that you would like to achieve. Okay, so there is no one-size-fits-all answer to that question. I would like you to specifically DM me later on, okay, somewhere else, either on Twitter or on Discord or something. And so that would be the best place for me to go ahead and help you out. Everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and get some of my cabbage salad, and then we'll go ahead and enjoy this lovely little sandwich that we made together, okay? A little bit of salad, nice little mound right onto the plate. Okay, and everybody, that's it. I wanted something comfortable, I wanted something delicious, I wanted something tasty and refreshing and not too heavy, and that is exactly what I hoped my chicken sandwich to achieve. Everybody, we're all done. I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, as we do the final recap session of today. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and probably try to sneak a photo of this the best that I can, although I don't think it's the world's best cross-section. So, I had some leftover chicken legs, so what do? We made a lovely chicken sandwich inspired by like a buffalo chicken sandwich. Chicken thigh, we seared it a little bit with some salt. Then we made a sauce out of honey mustard, well, honey, whole grain mustard, paprika, cayenne, garlic powder. Okay, mixed it all up, got this nice little glaze going, and then we slowly cooked the chicken thigh, my friends. We shingled on some cucumbers, we made a sauce out of yogurt, out of hot sauce, as well as out of some mayonnaise. We toasted some brioche buns, and then we add a nice pile of scallions. This little salad right here, cabbage, carrots, and apples for sweetness, some jalapenos for heat, and I used up all of my leftover cilantro, as well as a little bit of lime juice for acidity, my friends. So, we're gonna first try the most underwhelming component, which is going to be the salad. And even then, it's clean, it's tasty, it'll get softer the longer that you let it sit. Pleasant and easy to eat, right? But I just don't think the salad is the most exciting part. And now, my friends, we have my lovely sandwich, we have my lovely chicken sandwich. I haven't gotten a chance to taste the chicken yet, so now's gonna be the moment to do so. Oh, that's good. Wait, that's so good. Oh my God. Guys, that chicken thigh, there's no bite to it. It is so sweet. It is so soft. Oh, twitch.tv/pro-brawlhalla. Sunny Peach Crush. Wow. Oh my God. Guys. That chicken thigh is like perfect. That's delicious. I don't normally do sandwiches at home, but sometimes. Wow. Okay. I'm quite happy. I'm quite pleased. Okay. That's it. That's going to do it for the show today. Everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping by. Once again, if you'd like to support me, if you'd like to financially support the cooking show, exclamation mark Patreon, best way to do so. Normally every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 5 p.m. EDT. This was a special lunch episode. Thanks for being here, everybody. Be well, be safe. I'm going to see you all this Wednesday once again, 5 p.m. EDT. As always, we'll do the announcement sometime soon. Be well and have a really good day today. Bye-bye, everybody. Have fun.